button. Okay, so we are recording. So thank you, everybody. So this is our second session of the Dive for Agriculture Educated Professional Development session. If you missed the last one, we record each of these sessions, so you could go to our website, which is dive4ag.org. Is that right? Yeah. And and Susan's going to put it in the chat. Anyway, you can find on there under educator development sessions, educator development, that there is professional development. There's all the links for the different sessions that we'll be having with recording. So you can always catch up there, see if you missed anything, or if you want to, relook at something, that's on there as well. Okay, so with that, there it is, dive4ag.oregonstate.edu. So that's the one-stop shopping for all the great information about this amazing project. So we're real excited to introduce, for those of you who have not yet met, Eat. Eat is our, also working with us on the project with all the technology. He's his company is the one behind the development of these apps that we're going to be developing, and he's working with us on the, during the duration of the project. And so he's going to kind of review a little bit about what we covered last week, and then sort of jump into some of the tools that we have and get some of your feedback on that, about how we can improve it and what you will need for your schools and classrooms. So Eat, take it away.
Thank you. Hi, everybody, and then hi to the people who we haven't met. So for the so what we are going to do last week, sorry, not last week, in the last session, the focus was talking about VR, AR, distinctions, and then in-classroom implementations. The entire conversation was the benefits of AR, VR with different examples, but was always from the lens of a consumer. So you're a student, you are consuming this content, and then you are more engaged with the stories. Today's focus is actually going to be creating these experiences and then sharing those experiences with your other students, or with your teachers, or with the broader community. Just to refresh our memories, I'm going to start by showing a few examples, the distinctions between virtual reality and an augmented reality. Then we are going to start our session. And during this, when we start talking about creating this tool, this is actually new. No one has used this tool before. And now, it's starting from next week, cultural institutions and their education teams will start using to create content for their institutions. This could be a national park, state park, or a museum. But no teacher has used this before. No students, other than my kids, have used this before. So the purpose of this call is actually, this meeting is, I'm going to show you the product, and then we would like to discuss with you the benefits, use cases of this product. How can teachers and students benefit from this product? We're going to spend almost our entire time on this. Actually, our goal was to share this website and the mobile application with you prior to this call, but still it is waiting at Apple to approve. So that's why we couldn't share. But the second it's approved, we're going to share with it. And then our third session's focus is going to be, okay, now we talked about the benefits, use cases. So now that knowing that we can design the product accordingly, we're going to dive deeper and we're going to talk about specific features that you would like to see. So that's where we are going. Let's go, let's take a step back and then first refresh our memories about the distinction between virtual reality and augmented reality. So virtual reality is a 360-degree video, which means that if you are inside this experience, whichever you look at, you see a content. This product is great for taking you to places that you cannot go, or taking you to a time period that you cannot see anymore. Imagine going to Ephesus I'm Turkish, in Turkey. It's an ancient Greek city. It's 2,000 years ago, that was the biggest city in the region, but it's all rubble right now. It's a heritage site. So it would be great to put your headset and then travel back in time and then see that place in its heyday and then learn about the cultures and rituals and architecture. Versus augmented reality is displaying an object in your current environment. Again, if you go to Ephesus, you can project a piece of a column and then only complete that column and talk about that specific artifact and its role. But the rest of your environment stays same. Now I'm going to show you a few examples from my mobile phone. But before sharing that, let me show you this. So VR and AR can be consumed through different devices. And probably you have seen these devices before. This device is for virtual reality. So when you put this, then you're blocked out from your external environment and you are fully immersed. These headsets, obviously, mostly today are used for gaming and it's not accessible. A mobile app version can also support augmented reality, which while this cannot, and this is more accessible. Everyone has a mobile phone or a tablet at home, but of course it's not as accessible as a desktop. And there's a desktop version too, but it's the least immersive. But VR, AR doesn't mean that you cannot use all these devices, and then virtual reality is not only this headset. But as part of this program, these headsets also will be available for you. So now let's look at examples. All right, right now we are looking at my phone screen, and I'm going to launch the Heavy Tapman app. And I'm going to show two examples from here, one virtual reality, one augmented reality. So we are working with the districts over there. And then what we did was we created this tour that goes through the underground railway, and then it stopped, there's a content. And I'm going to show two examples. So when you are at Baktan Village stop, it's a crossroads, and then it used to look very different back in the old days. Today, if there's a gas station in one corner, it's a modern street. So what we are going to see is virtual reality. So when I click at the crossroads, and then now, I don't know if you also see me from my camera, but I am moving my phone.
Bucktown General Store. By the mid-1700s, white Europeans established themselves in Bucktown.
It's
They
all
purchased enslaved people
360
to work their land
degrees.
for farming, raising animals
This is
for
virtual
food and
reality.
profit, and timbering.
And then when
By the
you tap,
mid-1800s,
you get more
At
information
times,
about
I
this
wish I
from this
could
video.
have a slave or two. It would make
So as you can see, it's full virtual reality, full contact. If I was using a headset, it would be more immersive because I wouldn't see my physical environment. Now let's look at an augmented reality example. And this is Lee's MB. I'm going to stand up for this one. This is a hologram.
First, find a flat area nearby.
I am now scanning and tapping. Oh, do it again.
First,
One more time.
First, find a flat
All right.
I have to keep my wits about me.
So now
And
we are
behave
looking
normal.
at the
I
hologram
can't
of
let on what I'm
resentment.
about to do.
So as you can
It's
see, this
gonna be
is,
escape
I'm in
away.
a hotel
People,
restaurant right now,
including baby.
and she's right here.
My net is
It's
ready.
not full 360
He's got a
degree,
good pistol and a
but
big knife.
a character
You
in
see,
my
after
environment.
receiving so many empty promises of his
So that's the distinction. But an augmented reality doesn't have to be only a video file like this one. Any content can be combined. Any educational content that you have can be combined with augmented reality. Now I'm going to show a few examples. Again, from my phone. Like Bar Lake.
Hi everybody, it's Ranger Michelle. Welcome.
I'm skipping the introduction video. Now this time scanning my table. What we are looking at is right now on my table, right next to my computer, is the map, GIS map of a park in Colorado. And then this is now augmented reality. It doesn't exist. It's just right now projected through my phone, and I'm sharing my phone screen. This is what I see through my phone screen, but I can't see this outside of the phone screen. And all these pins are educational content. For example, if I click this pin.
Hello and welcome to the Need Rock Trail. Today we're going on a journey to discover how water gives life to the land, the lake, and the diversity and a
Or if we look at here, it's a 2D model. And when I tap these pins, I learn about this animal.
Hey everyone, my name is Devin. I'm with Nature's Educators. This is Juno. He is a 2.5-year-old bald eagle. Now, bald eagles don't get their iconic white head feathers until they're between their 5th and 6th year. So he right now still kind of looks like an Oreo. Now we'll tend to see.
All right. So now I'm going to stop sharing. Do you have any questions so far for the distinction between AR versus VR? All right, great. So now let's think about the last experience that I showed. There was a map, there were pins, and then you were touching and then learning more. So we are working with a dozen of institutions. What they do is that here, what we are as a company, what we are trying to do is all these cultural institutions, from National Civil Rights Museum in Memphis to DIVE4Ag program, they all have educational content readily available, or they can quickly produce pictures, videos, 360 images. So how can we use those assets and then bring them to life in a more immersive way and an engaging way for the students? So I'm going to now share my screen again. So as you can see, these are all similar experiences to what I have shown you. Some of them has 3D models about the artifacts that they have. Another one has, in Hiroshima, we have survivors as holograms. So these are all engaging content. So now the key is, and then they are all hoping to reach out to the classroom so that they can tell their stories to the students in an engaging way, because only so many students can visit their parks, and then not all the students are lucky enough to visit those places. And this applies for Dive4Ag too. That's how this program started during COVID, but the potential is much more than, okay, what we do when the schools are closed. So, and now that takes us to the focus of today. What if, as teachers, you could create content for your students, or even better, what if students could create these experiences by themselves? And then use these stories to A, actively learn, B, share with their with other students. So I'm going to show you the tool, how it's being created step by step. It's very simple and then easy. By the way, there are all the other features that I have not added. Like, for example, after you see the bald eagle, then you can ask as a pop-up quiz can pop up, and then you have to answer a question, and then you earn badges. So also, it's not only consumption, but also actively learning and then participating is possible with this medium. Now I want to show you how to create these experiences. And then what we want to discuss is what are the use cases, benefits. For example, so we reach out to the teachers that we have been working, and then one of the things that they have said, hey, this is a great tool because during my classroom or during the year, I don't have time to cover every single topic. I have to be very quick, and I cannot touch on everything. This is a great tool. I can give assignments to my students so they can create content about that topic, go deeper, and then come and present. This way, the student learns by creating, but also the rest of the classroom learns because one of their classmates are creating this immersive content on this topic. So today we want to discuss the benefits and then use cases that you can think of for your classroom usage, so that going forward, we design and shape our product development accordingly. So now let's create an content together. Now I'm going to share my desktop screen. So we are on Exploredlabs.com website. Students will have their own logins. They will log into this website, and then they are going to create a new project. So in this version, what we are looking at starts with a map, but in the second version, you can choose a map-based storytelling or a 3D object-based. Let's do the map-based version. So today, right now, I am in a conference in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Yeah. So let's look at the satellite version. So what we are seeing on the right-hand side is Google Maps. Nothing special about it, something that everybody is familiar. And this is Chattanooga. This is where I am right now. I don't know if any of you been here before. So then when you click placeholder, this box is actually the box that appears, the 3D map that appears on the map. You know what? I'm not going to take you to Chattanooga. I'm Turkish. I'm going to take you Ephesus. All right, let's go here. So this is Ephesus, the ancient Greek city. It's the most complete Greek city in the world today. it used to be by the water, was a harbor city, but it is right now 5 kilometers further away from the water because of the earthquakes. Let's find the site again. It's here. No. So this is the entrance, you come in, this is the amphitheater. This is the library, this is famous library, maybe you have seen pictures before. So when I click the placeholder, so I'm now adjusting the size where this 3D model will appear. So a little bit more at this section too. Right. So then the next step is, now I selected the area for the map, then I come here and then add pins. These are the pins that appear on the map. I'm going to put one right here next to the library. I'm going to put another one. Let's put here. Let's name this as this. And the next step is assign contents. When I click this, 3 options appear in front of me. I can upload content from my own computer, or I can link to a YouTube video and then select the seconds. So it doesn't have to be the entire thing. But also as a teacher, there will be other libraries, maybe for example, a library created by Dive4Ag, or a library created by FS's cultural institution, so that students can go and use them as their storytelling tool. Now let's go to upload from my computer. Here, the students will have access to different type of content, and then they can choose which type of content to upload. Let's upload a regular image. I have some images here. Yes, this is a picture that I took this summer with my kids. And this is the library that I was talking about. And I click, and you can add upload audio files. And then let's go to the next one, and this time and upload a 3D model. Now, this is a building from upstate New York, not from Ephesus. Right now, I need to upload separately for Android and iOS, but we are making an update so that you can upload one single file. So now I have 2 points of interest. They're both uploaded. And then you enter the project information. Let's say this is Dive4Ag, and this is this project. You can enter more information here. You can enter a project icon. This. And then add tags, select categories, or enter an introduction video the student can talk about, like a video file of talking about what this project is about, and then save. That's it. So now let's switch back to the mobile app.
Can I ask a quick question right there?
Yes.
Earlier you said the students get a log on. Does a teacher have access Does this teacher give them the log on? Can they log on the?
Yeah, it's a great question. That's one of the things that we would like to discuss. The way that we are developing it right now, but not developed yet, is teacher will send codes to the students or give codes to the students, and students will enter with those codes, so that teacher is the gatekeeper. So teacher will log in and then assign seats or accounts, and then an email will go to the students with a passcode, unique passcode, and then student will come in and enter that passcode to log in. And then the teacher can see all the projects that are created by his or her students. But students cannot see other students' project unless teacher enables them. But these are all the features that also we would like to discuss. What needs it, what has to be done.
And then I just saw that VR, the code, the QR code. How will the teacher then, when the student submits, like what would that look like? So say I finish my project and I submit it to the teacher. What does that process or system look like?
So let's look at that. Now I'm going to share my
Well, I mean, you don't need to change your presentation.
I know these are like very timely questions.
Okay, perfect.
What I'm going to show you is not going to entirely directly answer your question, but we'll get there. So these, as I said, these are all different experiences. Let's say Colonial Era, when you come here, there's this on the left-hand side, like there's more information here, an introduction video here.
Welcome to Pennsbury Manor, the reconstructed country home of Pennsylvania's founder.
And so I can share this link with anyone. That QR code is actually created so that if you have the app, you can just hold and then go and jump into that experience. You don't have to go here and then log in and then open again. That's a shortcut for the creators. But also there's a unique link that link can be shared with the teacher. So the teacher A can see the content from the mobile device, B from a web browser, C, she or he can come in and look at the resources that student used and then leave comments on the website. Let's look at the experience that's created. So when I go to my Explore, you didn't see my Explore. So now I was here on Home. Home is public. This content can be seen by anyone. You need to be a cultural institution, and then the content needs to be approved. But my Explore is my projects. So they're all different things that I have created in the past couple of weeks. So and then you see DIVE4Ag, the one that we created, it just popped up here. When I click, and then when I click View in AR, and scan my book. And now we are looking at Ephesus. This is the map. And I didn't do anything other than selecting an area on Google. And then here are my pins. And then my pins, the first one is the library. And I click, here's the picture that I posted. This picture is exactly taken from this location. Here's the library, it's hard to see, but you can see it from here. So imagine the students are telling their stories in this way. This could be a salmon 3D model, or a salmon 3D model in different phases of the fish. Or maybe this is not a street, but it's a river. And then on the river, marking different points of interest and what happens in fish life along the river. So these are all the different things that students can easily do right now. We close this down and then go to this one. This is a 3D model that I uploaded. As you can see, as a user, I didn't have to do anything. This 3D model was available to me to upload. So you can have your own 3D model library, or you can link it to, you can create your own 3D library. And then this is inclusive of like downloading 3D models from the internet, or using your iPhone 12 or 13 and scanning objects. Right. So then we go back to
quick
the
question.
website. Yes.
Can I ask you a question about the 3D models,
Mhm.
just to make sure I understood it right? So the 3 models, I mean, if you're like, somebody who knows how to scan and have 3 models as well, are very great. But the program will have a library of 3D models as well that users can pick from if that's what they wanted to build.
Yes. Stop my. Right. So 3D models, we can put them into categories. One, the cultural institutions that we are working with, they're creating their own library. They have huge collections, and then they're putting into their library. So as a teacher, if you are covering that topic, you can search and then share those libraries with your students. B, there are lots of, like for a certain topic, if it's a bald eagle, the bald eagle that I showed you is actually purchased from the internet, it was $49. And there are lots of free 3D models on the internet that they can use. And then number 3 is if they have an iPhone 12 or 13, they have the capability of scanning 3D objects. They can scan those and then upload from their computers. So it's a mix. This what we are putting as Timelooper, and then when we say not Timelooper, but our partners are working, and then Dive4Ag in this program is creating a lot of content too. So we can also form a library of Dive4Ag, can be available resource. So they are not only going to see the content created by Dive4Ag, but also use those assets, and then even more, because there's a lot of production happening 4 or 5 different sites, and then only a portion of them will be used because you have to keep the engagement. But there's so much content that they can be put, and students can go over those assets and then create. And then the other one is just go and find on the internet or scan and create your own.
Thank you.
So, and the process of is actually some of the things that that we would like to discuss. So this is the website, right? And then this is the link that if the teacher has access to this link and will have access to this link, can review the content. But let me show you what you will have hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Is you come here, and then I'm already logged in here. Log in and create accounts, and then you click, and then you start creating. There's no teacher or student format yet. Anyone can create content now. So that's step 1. Let's see how students are using, how they are creating. But then, and then we are adding so many different capabilities along the way. But also we want to create the right features for the teachers. So one of them is, which I don't have here that accessible with me, but is the one that I said, there's actually, when you come this page, on page, instead of saying start creating, we will say for cultural institutions, I'm a creator for schools. And you're going to click schools, and then that school will ask a username and password. As a teacher, you will be, as you log in and create an account here, then it will automatically send login passwords to the students so that students can log in to this website. So then once it's created, the teacher will have a different page where the teacher can access to the content of the students and then provide feedback, leave notes, provide comments. But that's the next phase. And then in the first phase, we would like to share this as it is so that you can play, create, and then meet again, and then create all those features that you would like to see that you have to have in this product so that we can develop them. And then hopefully next semester they will be developed, And then even before the end of the school year, maybe you can start using them and testing.
So the idea then, Ethan, you can correct me or just kind of reiterate what you're saying, that we have an opportunity here to play with something that's not final yet.
Yes.
And use those features, and we can use it. I mean, for example, when we get one of our Dive4Ag activities ready to go, you can take students or youth that you work with into the virtual experience. They can come back, let's say, go visit my mom in Brazil or somebody else in Brazil, visit a farm. They can go get pin and choose and take a photo or add a video or some content, so that that experience of learning about cheese production continues, right? Being built into the Dive4Ag materials. So we have the chance here, as I'm understanding, to kind of get educators to use it before it's final, understand the features, kind of give suggestions about what would make this useful, meaningful, relevant to me as an educator and to the youth, how they're going to use this, so that we can have Timelooper then take those things in considerations and create it to be in a final product.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
There's a couple questions in the Jamboard. Is now a good time to address those?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. One person asked, when will we have access to the app? When do we get login access and can set up classes? So they're eager. Do you want to speak to that yet, or you want to wait?
Yeah. So the website is ready, but the app, Google Android app is approved. Apple is reviewing. So the step is, in order for an app to be published in Apple Store or Google Play, they first review if the content is appropriate, if the app is working, functional. So now it's in review by Apple. The second they approve, it's going to be live, and then we'll send you an email so that you can start using it. But the student modules are not available, as we just discussed, but students can start using it and then create content and then make their own presentations. So it will be available without the teacher editing tool, which I mean is like literally entering inside the experience and then making comments. That will come after. We want to design those together with you, but you and your students can start using it maybe tomorrow morning. You know, we're waiting for Apple to approve.
There's a comment. I'm sorry, Barb. There's a comment. It was a pertinent comment to what just you were saying, so I didn't want to lose track of it. But there is a comment from Connie about how what is your perception of how proficient an educator need to be prior to having students using this? It would be good to have some practice time before students get to use that with them.
Yeah. So I guess there are two parts to it. One is consuming the content. There may be even three. One is, as a teacher, you know how to use this. And then I'm sure the students will be much faster than any of us in terms of grasping how it works, because they're so into this new technologies. But once the app is live, you can start using the app. I mean, there are all these other apps, like the Eagle one that I've shown you. These are all live and then used by thousands of people already. So this is not a new technology to consume the content. And as a teacher, you can download the app or other apps and then play with it and see how it works. And then but in terms of what type of content to ask your students to create, I think Dive4Ag, once live, is going to be a great inspiration and learning experience. So we're going to put those experiences here, and there's going to be a Dive4Ag section, because the app that I've shown is kind of like Netflix design. So instead of having drama and action, it is California State Park, Civil Rights Movement, Dive4Ag. So when it comes to covering those topics and that Dive4Ag is providing you, your students, and then you can also see that content, and that provides inspiration to create their own stories. And then the creation part is, I'm not say as simple as I have shown you, but of course you have to go through that step. I skipped the tutorial, but there's a step-by-step also the tutorial, and then you can create those. Having said that, even after doing all of these, you may feel like, okay, I really didn't understand. I'm stuck at this. I couldn't go any further. These are all valuable feedback, so that A, we include that in the website and in the app. Then also maybe it is important that we create supplemental documentation for teachers, best practices, tips, frequently asked questions, troubleshooting, so that, because teachers are looking at this with a different lens. They're not only consuming, but also they are kind of like, okay, I'm going to get all these questions from my students. How am I going to answer these? So you have more responsibility than an average user. So these are all the things that also we would like to learn and then hear from you and then add. And then the solution maybe is adding those sections inside the app and the website.
So can I ask another question here? What equipment will we need and can we afford it?
So for this program, there is no charge. It is part of the program, it is included. The way that we are, as Timelooper, we are not charging to the schools. All the experiences here and then all the assets are actually provided by these cultural institutions. And it's up to them to make this a paid experience for you or not. Typically, the way that pricing is taught right now is $1 per student per year. So that they they can get and download the Exploredlabs and then have access to that institution's content. But not all the institutions can charge. For California state parks or national parks, they cannot monetize this. So in this case, those are going to be free. So I'm expecting that there will be a mix of paid and free experiences on this platform in terms of available assets for your students. But your students will be free to join and then create these content.
Okay. This is like drilling you in interview questions. What app
I was
do
going
need?
to interview you.
Yeah. I told you this Jamboard would be amazing. What app do we need? What app do I need for my phone to scan my own 3D models? What do you recommend, and is this costly? So what app do we need first for a 3D model? And what do you recommend?
I got to tell you real quick. While we were doing that, I didn't know my phone could do that. I'm already looking at trying to figure out how to do it. I never knew I could do it. Yeah.
So first of all, your phone needs to be iPhone 12 or 13. If it's
Whoever
iPhone 12.
So who asked that question? I don't know who asked it.
And maybe we could do a quick poll, thumbs up, if you have an iPhone, access to an iPhone 12 or 13.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then also, I think it's a very small group. We can also turn on our audio and then just talk, have a conversation together.
But it's not just iPhone, right? Androids are also work on there, right?
Oh yeah, there are some Androids too, they can scan. There are other ways that, like, what we do is that if this is a 3D object, you can video record this like this, and then upload, and then our software turns into 3D model. But that's a service that we provide to the museums for their artifacts. It's expensive. I mean, regular phones also does to a certain extent, but yeah, you have to have an iPhone 12 or 13. If you have an iPhone 12 or 13, there are a bunch of apps that scan and turn. Some of them are great, some of them are not. And then I don't know the names now, but we can provide those. We can make recommendations.
Yeah, but this is just for the scanning to create a 3D model, right? I just want to make it make sure I understand the question. That the question maybe is just about accessing this Explore apps as well.
Yeah, so in terms of accessing or like 3D models, so you're not going to have an artifact in your living room, but you might go out and then find a stone or a plant that is part of your store, or a vegetable that you've raised. So you want like to scan that. You want to scan, you need to have iPhone 12 or 13. But if it is the generic project, for example, salmons, we were talking about earlier, on the internet, there are tons of free salmon 3D models with the eggs and the hatch and all those stages. So you don't need to scan, and I don't think that you can scan a salmon anyway, because they keep moving around. But it's like, go and find from the internet. So right, there's free stuff there.
Another question, one person asked, I had trouble accessing the app from my school computer. Tech was willing to help, but need more information.
All right, so the mobile app needs to be downloaded to the device. The other one is a web browser. And usually schools have whitelists. So this website needs to be listed so that it can be accessed from the classroom. So you just need to speak with your IT team so that they allow this.
Okay, and then it would be good to look, so this person needs to be more proficient before having the students use this. And then it would be good to look at examples and how it is incorporated into lessons, rubrics. So maybe that's a future training on how to incorporate this type of learning in the classroom. Okay.
I think we addressed the first part, but in terms of curriculum integration, cultural institutions that we work with, they do that. They also provide learning plans. I don't know what we're doing for DIVE4Ag specifically.
So any other questions that we missed? Anybody can speak up if you need more clarification on that.
There's one more question over the Chromebooks. So again, there are, you either have an iPhone that does the scanning of 3D model, or you have other ways to get 3D model. That's just one element of it, right? But as far as them being able to download the Explorer DIVE4Ag, play around it, create content, all that you need is a Android or iPhone or iPad device that will get into the Explore app and experience. Does that work with the Chromebooks, which is the Chromebooks that they give up in schools to teachers?
Chromebooks will be used to create content. And there's also, we are building an extension where they can see their creation in the Chromebooks. Let me show you that we did with Washington State Park. Thank you very much. That's for water. So Washington State Capitol has both the app and also the web version. And then this is accessible from Chromebooks, any computer. And then I'm using the mouse pads or to look around, but it's not as immersive. Oops. And then when you click this, change the content back. So yes, there's that one is not ready yet, but what we are doing is when you create an experience, just like it immediately populates on your phone, it will also populate on your desktop in that format. It's a great experience, but it is better than not having access to it. I think that will be available next spring. It's in our roadmap.
Anybody can unmute? Any other questions? Follow-up questions? There was another question in the, where exactly do we go to create an account so that we can build content? Did you hear me?
You mean
Yes, I was on, sorry.
So where exactly can we go to create an account so that we can build content?
So you'll go to exploredlabs.com.
Can we drop that link in the chat for them?
But you cannot use it right now because it's not,
Okay.
the app is not available.
Okay.
And here I'm already logged in and sign out. Go to my account and then create an account. Then enter this information and then register. That's easy. And the link is checks.
But if I heard you correctly, they can't go do anything right now.
Yeah, whatever they create, they cannot see their creation because the mobile app is not live in Apple or Google Play yet. They're waiting for Apple to approve.
Thank you. One other question is, and maybe this is for Maureen, Susan, and I, will there be a teacher resource to help students through the process? So were they a resource that they could pass out? Is there a teacher resource?
Do you mean support for the teachers to engage in creating this content?
I think that's what this one means. Will there be a teacher resource to help students through the process? So all the things we just learned.
Yeah, and you can clarify that too, because as we discussed that, we're bringing that up. This is kind of like an opportunity for us to work in depth with that with his team support and figuring out the best ways to figure out about this app and how to use it. So we would have built-in support for this project as you engage in them.
So the website itself has step-by-steps in terms of how to create, but doesn't talk about how to use this as part of your curriculum and then best practices. And actually, that's what we want to discuss and test with you. Like one of the big questions that we have is, what are the use case and benefits of this project, if there is one? How would you use this product in your classroom? And then the second part is, okay, if you want to use it that way, what are the things that you need from us to do that? So let's focus on the first part after we go over all of the questions.
It's nice for people who have used Jamboard that because we can save those after. But some of the things said both, so how will they use it? Both high school and elementary as target audience, virtual, formal, and classroom. Middle school STEAM classes and middle school students in the garden program. High school, formal, face-to-face. Informal, both virtual and face-to-face during out-of-school programs. And then I would like to have virtual field trips with my students as well as other fun activities to do. Students could preview a place that we would visit or report on a place or activity that they do.
Can you please share your screen? Is it possible?
Oh, of course, of course.
No.
Sorry, Eat. So this was the first slide. We asked them. Yep, thank you, guys. So that was, please share your intended audience, the grade and location, delivery mode, and face-to-face or virtual. And then on the left, we have the formal and informal.
What's the distinction between formal and informal?
Formal is in school. Informal is like an out of school, after school program.
All right, so I have a STEM. I see STEM, one of the comments. So this is a great tool to combine art and science together, because what we are using a technological tool, a software program, but we can use this software program for social studies, history, or in any topic. So this is bringing actually those two disciplines together.
And then the next question we asked them was, how do they plan on using the app?
For the green one, to have students create interactive presentations. We heard that a lot. It's a great presentation tool, actually. And when we think about the pink, it also for the pink one too. So it's a presentation tool. So if this is a presentation tool, when would you ask them to prepare? Is it like this is a couple of weeks? Here's what I know from my, because I didn't go to school until business school in the US, but my kids are working on projects, and then those projects are sometimes a semester long, like they did chick study, or they sometimes work on a project 3-4 weeks, and then they make presentation, they prepare boards. Do you imagine using this as part of a longer projects or more of a weekly project? And by the way, students can create and work on the same project too. It doesn't have to be a one-on-one. Well, I mean, obviously you can use for all, but which one for this kind of a tool? What would be the when this presentation could be the most helpful for the students? Short or long-term projects?
Does anybody want to answer that?
I can see it being long-term.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to use it as some virtual field trips for my agriculture class, because we're in such a rural area with not a lot of busing options. We can't go far to go to these experiences. We can only go locally. So I would like to use it in that sense in my agriculture classes, but in my science classes, I could see using it every year for our Salmon Watch program as well. So I would say long-term for my classes.
And Carrie, if I remember, are you from Hillsborough? Is that right?
Tillamook.
Oh, Tillamook, yeah. I could even see, I don't know, for what's worth, like say you and in Tillamook create your field experience, but in Wallowa, Kimmy is doing a field experience, you know, in kids sharing back and forth some of their own, you know, this is what it's like on a ranch or something like that. Or in Tillamook, this is a very something in the dairy farm or something.
I was thinking it would be really cool to have our students do a tour of the cheese factory and provide that to people who can't come to the cheese factory and other students. Also, I live on a robotic dairy farm here in Tillamook, and doing a tour of the robots and the dairy farm would be really cool as well.
Yeah.
So actually, Susan, you guys work with students to create that kind of an experience. Maybe you want to talk about that experience, even though it was more comprehensive and more planned, but in essence was the same, objective purpose, right?
Yeah, I'll share a little bit, and then I'll let Emily join in as is an opportunity moment as well. But part of, Carrie, what you're talking about on the deep level is what we're doing as part of this project. We have the Teens as Teachers program model after the Teens as Teachers for 4-H, but it's a DIVE4Ag specific one. And the students were with us for 6 weeks and engaged into creating these field trips and this content. So they get to go to the sites with us. They got to decide what to record, what to videotape, what to turn into a hologram, write scripts, direct direct all of the production. So their voice is really going to be, so they, when they, like for example, agroecology app is probably the first one that's going to be ready for piloting and testing. When that's app for all of you, when that's ready for all of you to pilot and test and take in and have the experience, you're going to see the stuff that's produced in there, it was produced by the youth with their voices. And so in a way, that's what I mean. I think that's what you're mentioning. How do I get something powerful in the hands of youth like that they get to decide how this field trip is going to happen and what they want to highlight as part of this field trip. So those are a couple of something that we did in this project with a few youth that came in to work with us to co-create content. So there's that in-depth co-creation, but I can see too, there's an opportunity here that, like, if you have a garden in your school and you're taking the materials out of that garden in your school and you create that map of where your school is on the garden, you're creating those pins, your students in the classroom are creating and sharing what they want to share about the garden, right? And that can be part of going in and to explore, and another school that you have a partner teacher that you also know have a garden can do the same thing, and you're sharing this school gardening kind of library with each other of field trips. So, and I'm thinking it, I'm correct to say that this is part of the opportunity on this when this becomes approved, right? Like you can see, like I'm going to say 10 teachers across rural, they all have gardens in the school. They all do a garden field trip, and they all participate in each other's field trip, and they're created by the youth in the school.
Yes, and then it can be shared with other schools, other teachers. Those experiences can also connect to each other. This is a project that we work with Pearl Harbor and Hiroshima. So they are both our clients, and then on both sides of the Pacific Ocean. The project that we are working on, like students working on this project, and there's a group of students creating, and those experiences are linked. I don't know if you remember, one of the boxes was link my experience to other experiences. So those experiences can also, there could be collaboration even among schools, among states, among cities. And so it's a great tool. I mean, now students love creating. That's why TikTok is so popular. On the one hand, we are giving you a TikTok for education.
The TikTok.
So I'm going to share my screen again, because I think before they go, there's a few more questions that maybe I'm going to put it up so that right here, what app do I need? Did we answer that one? Yeah, we did. Oh, they need, can we get a cheat sheet that outlines the web app and phone app capabilities and how to access all of these?
So both the app, so we are trying to design this website and then the app such that it is like, do you have Instagram accounts? Maybe yes. You didn't get a cheat sheet for Instagram account. It was easy to use. So we are trying to design it that way, both the website and then the app. But as I said, it is not talking about use case in classroom implementation of options, but just the creating. And first, we would like to hear from you. If you get stuck, then either we have to fix the app, or we have to provide additional information like frequent asked questions, tips inside the app, but it does not exist now. And then I suspect that the experiences, the creator is not comprehensive enough in terms of tutorials. But we would love to hear your thoughts. In the meantime, I'm moving around to find the charger. Sorry, my phone.
I'm just going to chime in because I need that cheat sheet. And so when Ed explained this to us the other day when we were planning, he within the app built in there, it will tell them what to do if they get stuck. So it should be intuitive. And so you won't need a separate cheat sheet because it'll be built into the app.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah.
So I'm logging in again. It's a test account. So you see, says choose your location for your air experience. This is what you do here, and then you write. Whatever. And then tell me, next, place a selector to define the EMF area you place. And then it says, now by pinching or moving around. So there's this info box step by step. But I'm not sure if it's going to be helpful enough for you, but we would love to hear your feedback. But we have these kind of things in the app and on the website.
There was another question there before the Jamboard disappeared. It was about once, let's suppose, Carrie, students create a experience they published that's available for anyone to see, right? Not just their group.
It's that those experiences are private, but it's not publicly available. So the student needs to share with you or DIVE4Ag group, so that whenever you share with someone, that person start sharing and can start seeing it, but they won't be public. It's important to have that filtering. So we would like the teacher to see the content and then approve. So the content won't be public. So like, for example, randomly, if someone from Tennessee today logs into Explore app, they won't see this experience. They will be private and hidden from them, unless the teacher or the student shares the link with that person. So it's shareable, but it needs to be actively shared by the creator.
Okay. So somebody has a website, like say a school website or a class website, and they put it, we created this and put the link in there. So anyone going into that page will see the link,
Yes.
able to access.
Okay. And then link and then open it, and then it will appear in their app. There's a section under in your Explore app, you see the experiences that I'm following. That's the section that we are listing other people's experiences that are shared with you.
Okay, there's another question here, Ethan, just like clarifying. I mean, so these, if the teachers here today want to start practicing this in this project to offer feedback, they can start creating content as soon as this is approved. Which,
yes.
What is your estimated time?
I mean, let's seriously, we're waiting for Apple to approve.
So whenever Apple contacts you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we sent the app to Apple Store. Last Friday, we sent another submission.
Oh.
With Toronto Zoo at the same time, and then Toronto Zoo app is approved. This is still in review. So we'll see.
So it shouldn't take this long. It's not, once that is approved, we can create. Sarah is showing out a phone. You're muted, Sarah. I know you were talking.
I downloaded the app while we were we're doing it, but I can't
Which
get
one?
it to really. The Timelooper, is that the wrong
So
one
it's-
for the iPhone?
No, that's the wrong one. It should be Explore. So why don't you? Okay, so I'm going to let me share my screen. So
What about we say we can also create our own cheat sheet about starting this for you.
so if you go to timelooper.com/explore, but without E, just X. To this website, you can see these apps and then links. When you open this website on your phone, you can click App Store or Google Play that downloads these specific apps. But this new app consolidates all these experiences under one app, and then also has the creator tool. But if you want to check out different type of experiences, this is a place to see the list. This has almost all the content, not all. And the website link is
I think I put it in there.
Yes, correct, that one. And then when you open this on your computer browser, so on your phone browser, and you click, you'll go to the Apple Store on your phone, and then you can download. I mean, I cannot download because this is on my computer right now. And then there's more information about those experiences.
Which, by the way, all of those apps, they're already created and already available in the App Store that you can go through, like what he's showing there are the ones that are consumable right now, right? So you can go in and use it with your students if you would like to. They're free,
Yeah.
they're consumable, those are already created. So that's one part of this. What we're doing moving in a few days is getting this new product, which is the Explorer, to try out and create things with us in our group. Right. So well, I need to leave like 5 minutes for Emily, who is one of our DIVE4Ag program coordinators, to talk a little bit. But what do you see would be the most efficient next steps? It seems like there's a lot of interest. Can I see raise your hands if you're interested in practicing, trying out with this in projects and creating content? Hands or whatever you can put on the screen, please. So we see interest.
So I think as a next step, once the app is live, then we can send out an email from DIVE4Ag, and then even put it also on the website probably, so that you can download and then start creating your own experiences, share with students, and then see what they think, what they create. And then in our next session, maybe we can look at what you guys have created. Maybe we use the first part and then talk about our experiences, and then use the second part of the meeting as, okay, this was great, but you guys have to develop A, B, C, D so that I can actively use in my classroom. Or it will be great if I can also do this. So, but without using the app, it's hard to tell for you. So it will be great to use the time between now and then our next meeting to use and play with the app.
Club. For me, Connie says that for me, it might be more applicable for after school STEM clubs. For me too. Maybe document, okay. So that'll be really free form here, right? It's like the goal, it's not what you produce perfect per se, but it's just getting engaged with it and figuring out how we can make this useful. So that then we, as we produce our own Dive4Ag things and the lessons that go along with it, we can be thinking about this as something that you can be doing as well, way after the grant. So
yes, and then once we have Dive4Ag content that will provide the base and inspiration for creating content for those specific topics. Right now, maybe you guys can ask, hey, do you want to create a project on what you have done over the weekend or your summer, or hey, we are studying this topic. I just tried to make a presentation by using this tool. Now use it for anything that you can think of, and so that we can start getting feedback. But yes, once the Dive4Ag content is ready, it's going to be more organized and focused. And then hopefully we can have more features by then.
I didn't know I was muted. I have a question about when is the next meeting. So we have our next meeting. I'm going to put the link here on the website, has all of the dates in there. For November 16th, we may need to revisit that if the app doesn't get published with enough time for them to play with.
Yeah.
And it can always be a continuation, like, we can do a part B for this training, which is like the walk through everything again in more details, like the cheat sheet kind of walkthrough. Then I just say that
let's see.
It's coming up. So right. Okay, Emily, you're here with us.
I am.
Well, it is looking at the dates and everything in there. Emily Nickerson is a program coordinator for Dive4Ag, and also my colleague at pre-college programs. And she's working hard with Kristen Moore, who is our 4-H coordinator, into the Teens as Teachers program. So she wanted 5 minutes to talk to you about maybe spreading the word to your students, so at youth that you work with.
Definitely. So good evening, everyone. I'm very excited to come talk to you this evening. I'm not entirely sure how much information you have gotten already about the Teens as Teachers program, but just wanted to extend the exciting opportunity to you, particularly because we've extended the deadline. And the door is just about closed. So I want to make sure that you had all of the information that you might need to pass on to your students. So Susan mentioned a little bit earlier that we had a cohort of teens, so high school students, that were working with the project and really developed what the agroecology app was. So what we focused on, what pictures or 3D videos that we needed. And we're doing that again. And this latest cohort of teens is really going to be focused on our rangeland management app. So the program itself, we meet weekly for about 6 weeks. And then after that, there's the second half, which is really the app development. And students are able to earn a stipend if they complete the first 6 weeks of training, which is mostly interview skills, public speaking, really getting to know the other teams that they're working with. And then the second section is really working with that app. So as I mentioned, high school students, we meet Monday evenings at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And there are 4 steps that students have to go through before next Monday if they really want to participate. The first one is most critical because that is the application, and we'll send the other 3 steps if they apply. So the first one's definitely the most important. And thanks, Susan, for putting that in there. So they'll apply, and then they will need to register with Ideal Logic. And then come to the meeting on Monday with 2 things. One, kind of an introductory slide so they can introduce themselves. And then they're a public speaker that they admire. And like I said, we'll send a lot more information to that after they apply. But it's just a really neat program and a way for students to not only be integrated with kind of a an up and coming technology and an app, but also get to meet some other really neat high school students. We have students from across the country. We actually have one from Canada joining us. So they get to really interact with a lot of different students that both have lots of ag knowledge and some that don't have any ag experience at all. So just a really, really neat program. Any questions?
There's a question in the chat asking if it's when they bring their slides, is it a Google slide or a PowerPoint?
Either one. They'll share their screen and introduce themselves, and then they will either email or share the slide with us, which is kind of proof that they did that assignment so that they fulfilled the obligations to get their first stipend.
And I think Sherry has a question. Oh, you get your hand up, Sherry.
Your hand's up, Sherry.
I never put it down and the blood is running out of my hand now. I did wonder if we should create accounts for Explore or just play with it right now and not create our own accounts.
You can, and then when you log in this next time, it can be available there, but there's no harm to create. The only thing is you cannot see your creation as I have been showing you. That's the only part, missing part.
Okay.
The other thing, so Emily, I just want to share that sometimes you might, when you share this link out with your students, we have students that have participated, Ideologic is a little confusing for some of them if they haven't been there before. So we've had to sit side by side with some of our 4-H participants to help them. And then if there is a language barrier or should I be signing up for this? Was the question, like, what am I putting my stuff into? So your students might need a little bit more assistance. And if they struggle with it, Maureen or I or Susan can, or Emily or Kristen can help. So just shoot an email to us that they're having problems.
Right.
And not super easy to navigate.
No, that's a great point, Barb, because I know Cami, for the first cohort, Cami helped students a lot registering, and Maureen actually went in behind the scenes and took screenshots and created a little PowerPoint on. Oh, that was an Ideologic, though. That was Benny by for them to be paid. So
but I could do it with Ideologic if they need it.
Okay. But yes, we'll be here to support it if you need it. For them. And one thing I wanted to say is that I got to go to the retreat with the first cohort of teens, and I know we have one of them that's doing it again, and some of them wanted to do it again. That's how much they value the experience of having voice and creation into things. There were very, very positive feedback from the youth as far as their experience in those 6 weeks. So if you know any high school age youth that you're working with, or please share the word and the link in there as well.
2 other things: time commitment, no more than 2 hours a week, one of them including the meeting. So each week we meet and then they have a little assignment, but that should not take anywhere more than an hour. And then, as Susan mentioned, we are planning to do a retreat so we can actually film on site. For the Rangeland app, it should be southeastern Oregon. So they'll definitely be invited to do that and come record as well.
And maybe these students, if you have students from your classes, they could also then be the instructors for when we start doing your own apps in your own classrooms.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Are all the meetings virtual other than the retreat for those students?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the retreat is not required either. I mean, we supported the students to travel and paid for mileage for parents to drive them, and for the ones that could come in person, but it wasn't a requirement either.
Okay, well,
great.
no more questions. We'll be sending out information, especially as soon as we get Apple to approve the app that he's developed. Get that out to you as soon as possible, and be posting soon when the next meeting will be.
Great, thank you all.
Thanks, everybody. All right, bye.